Buyers ran up water bill on last day of ownership closing day. I sold my home last week and I was told to have utilities on for the day of closing so the buyers could do a proper walkthrough and to have them turned off for the next day. We closed early in the morning and the buyers immediately went back to the home. Apparently they left the water running at a hose plus ran the sprinklers for nearly 24 hours. My neighbor told me they went over and shut it because it was flowing and flooding into their yard the next morning, so now instead of a $70 water bill I have a $400 water bill. Eat it or ask realtor to ask them to pay. Try going to the water company. Bring your settlement statement showing the closing date. Sometimes you can get them to switch it to the date of closing possession. Source: I worked for a builder and this stuff happened all the time. If that doesn't work, get the daily use record and send it to the new owners with a bill and a deadline. If they do not pay or respond, small claims court is your friend, especially with a neighbor as a witness. Is that even possible? $330 in one day? Did you call the utility to explain the bill? Even if these buyers were mad at you, what an incredible waste of a natural resource. Las Vegas resident. My water company allows one adjustment per year. Usually for broken frozen. See if they could maybe do a credit. Tell them that you were selling and water was somehow left on. You never know. It's worth a shot. I have my clients take a picture of the water meter if it is accessible, the gas meter and the electric meter on the morning of settlement. If they are not around, I do it for them. Mostly because it is easy for someone to transpose numbers, but it might be a help in this situation. Is it possible they turned on the irrigation thinking that it was on a timer? If the people had no reason to be mad at you, it seems highly unlikely they did this intentionally. Why would they flood their own brand new yard like that? Legally it would probably be an uphill battle for you to fight. But you can definitely ask the buyers. They might realize they made a mistake and be willing to reimburse you. If that fails, you can ask the utility company. Can't hurt to try. Everyone is assuming this was intentional, when it's far more likely they had no idea how to use the sprinkler system and thought the system controlled output. First step is call them. They may realize they screwed up and help cover the cost. Then if they won't help, contact water company with details of your sale. I had a person walk through my deceased dad's property and they turned on every single tap and left it running. Bill went from $30 to $600. I didn't know it was running for a couple days. Agent was no help. Why is everyone assuming malice? Apparently there was no bad blood and flooding their new property isn't exactly in their interest. They probably just forgot to turn it off. What did you do to make them mad? Lol. X200B. You are going to eat it. That is a lot of water usage for one day. I've always scheduled my utilities shut off for the close of business on the day of close. Not much you can do about it now though. Depending on the state you live in, the title company or attorney should have withheld a certain amount to cover the final water bill and they should disperse that money directly to them. If the bill is higher than that, it should roll over with the property and not with you. Plus, your settlement date is the date the new owners legally own the property. The date of the deed is the date everyone signed is the date of exchange. Unless you specifically signed something saying you would accept ownership of the utilities for longer, Jay wouldn't worry about it. Was the utility still in their name at the time? Well, that's weird. Was the grass in danger of dying or something? One of the first things we did was water our lawn, but I think we paid for it. I wouldn't waste time trying to collect a few $100. Just let it go. Filling my pool took about 16 hours and cost about $600. I think that ops numbers sound about right. I bet they turned it on without ever thinking that the bill would be on you. I'd ask for them to contribute toward the cost, maybe split the difference as a gesture of goodwill, because otherwise you will probably eat the whole amount. I would write an email and ask your agent to pass it along. In that email, Tell them that they left sprinklers and stuff on, flooded their yard and into the neighbors, and ran the bill up to $400 in one day. End it with something about letting them know so they don't get a surprise giant bill at the end of their first month. You get to come off concerned for their own finances, and maybe they'll be nice and pay you. It's not worth the hassle and cost to go to small claims court. If they don't just offer it up, I would eat it. Those numbers seem impossible. It's $330 extra on a home sale. Not a huge thing. Your lawyer won't even care. But it's a complete douche move on their part. If you're in a position to legally make things difficult for them, do it. If not, put it out of your mind and move on. I don't know why on earth you'd ask the realtors to eat it, sheesh. Either pay it, or take them to small claims court. It is free to ask them to pay for it, but you will probably end up eating the cost. An unexpected $400 expense is pretty common for a homeowner. Don't worry about it. Amazing how many problems happen the day of or day after closing. Totally not the sellers hiding problems with a home. In New York, water is tied to the property. So, for an unpaid water bill they go after the real estate, which you no longer own. Also, Hanlon's razor. Seems easiest is telling water company if they can close your account and switch to new owners, especially when the water use is after the closing time date. TBH, I would ask the realtor to help me out. If it doesn't go anywhere, I'd eat it. I don't think $330 is worth battling over. Allegedly good luck proving a buyer is going to intentionally damage property they are paying big money for and taking possession of. More likely it was an accident, or done by neighbor kids if it was malicious. Good luck proving anything. Eat it or ask realtor to ask them to pay. Ask them to pay. They won't pay. And you will have to eat it. But make a big deal about this. The water company can pull a report of usage that day. I would ask them for it. How does running the water 24 hours increase by almost $350? Sounds really sus. That water would be running much longer than 24 hours. If it's like Illinois, the bill stays with the property, so they'd be stuck paying it anyway. And how much over asking did they go just to secure your home? You worried about a few $100s? Are you serious? We accidentally left a hose on for 3 days, and our bill was only about $200. 4 people in our house, and our bill for 1 month is typically under $30. The utilities should have been in the buyer's name the day of closing, per my realtor at closing. Example: closing date June 15th. First day of buyer utilities. This isn't real. Something doesn't add up. Hose and sprinklers for 24 hours wouldn't cost that. It's usually like 5 per 1,000 gallons, which is roughly what that would equate to. Why does this matter? It's $300. Literally rounding error on the purchase you just made. Don't put utilities in your name unless you have keys in hand. This just made me think, why is there not a 1-hour cut-off valve? Like if you run the water for more than an hour continuously, then it shut off the main supply. If 1 hour is not enough time, then 2 hours should be fine for like 99.99% of daily use. Get a bucket of water and throw it in their new living room. Well, looks like those buyers were just trying to turn your yard into a water park. Time to charge them for admission. Well, looks like the buyers wanted to create their own private water park. Splash-tastic. Time to ask them to pay up or join them in a water slide adventure. Well, looks like your buyers wanted to create their own little water park. Why not turn it into a theme park and charge admission? Move on. I am now convinced that going through the process of buying or selling a home flips the switch on for mental pathology. Seriously, dude or dudette? Just move on. I promise you it won't make a difference for either party in the long run. Unless you know what we don't, they provably didn't do it to spite you. It's probably anxiety from doing one of the biggest things they'll ever do in life.